They call him the Ghost of Busan. He doesn't negotiate. He erases problems. But tonight, a woman walked into his office and dropped a severed finger on his desk. I stopped them. What will the ghost demand in return? Subscribe, and let's begin. 24 hours earlier. Amara's phone rang at 2:47 p.m., interrupting her analysis of the club's security breach. Her heart stopped when she saw her aunt's number. Amara. Aunt Claudia's voice cracked with terror. Malik didn't come home from school. The principal said a man in a black car was asking about him. Baby, I'm scared. The phone nearly shattered in Amara's grip. Malik. Her 12-year-old brother. The only family she had left after their parents died in a car crash 3 years ago. She'd taken this job in Seoul, working for Park Ji-hoon's legitimate businesses, to make enough money to bring Malik and Aunt Claudia to safety. To give him the life their parents wanted. But someone had found him first. I'm coming, Amara said, her mind already calculating. Lock the doors. Call the police. I'll be there in. Miss Williams. Park Ji-hoon's voice cut through the phone like a blade. He stood in her office doorway, impossibly tall, impossibly beautiful, impossibly dangerous. You have 3 minutes to explain why you're about to abandon your post. Amara ended the call, her hands shaking. Mr. Park, I need emergency leave. My brother. I don't do emergency leave, Ji-hoon said coldly. I do replacements. Then replace me. Amara stood, grabbing her bag. I quit. She tried to push past him, but he caught her wrist. Not hard, but immovable. You quit, he said slowly, and the 3 million won you borrowed for your brother's medical bills comes due immediately. Can you pay it? Amara's world tilted. The debt. She'd forgotten the debt. The leukemia treatment that saved Malik's life last year had cost everything. Ji-hoon's company had given her an advance, with interest that would take 5 years to repay. I'll figure it out, she whispered, tears burning her eyes. Please. He's 12. He's all I have. Something flickered in Ji-hoon's expression. Something almost human. Where is he? Seoul International Academy. But the men asking about him, her voice broke. They had serpent tattoos. The temperature in the room dropped 20 degrees. The serpents, Ji-hoon said quietly, are about to learn what happens when they touch my people. He pulled out his phone, barked orders in rapid Korean. Within minutes, his entire security team mobilized. You're coming with me, he told Amara. And you're going to tell me everything about your brother on the way. The school. They arrived at the school to find chaos. Parents screaming, police cars, ambulances. And in the middle of it all, Malik, small, terrified, but alive, being held by 2 men in black suits. Amara didn't think. She just moved. She'd been a Marine before her parents died. 3 tours in Afghanistan. Honorable discharge with commendations. She'd almost forgotten what her hands could do. Almost. The first man went down when she crushed his windpipe with a perfectly placed strike. The second tried to draw his weapon, but she was faster. She disarmed him, broke his wrist, and put him on the ground in 4 seconds flat. Malik ran to her, sobbing. She held him with one arm while keeping her stolen gun trained on the crowd with the other. That's when she saw him. The leader. Serpent Lieutenant. Coming toward her brother with a knife. Amara made a choice. She pulled the trigger. The man fell. The crowd screamed. And Amara scooped up Malik and ran, her training taking over, her heart shattering because she'd just killed a man in front of her baby brother. Ji-hoon's car appeared like magic. His driver threw open the door. Get in, Ji-hoon commanded from the back seat. Amara hesitated. Getting in that car meant entering his world completely. No going back. But Malik was crying and the sirens were getting closer. She got in. The penthouse. Ji-hoon's penthouse was a fortress of glass and steel overlooking the Han River. His medic checked Malik over while Amara paced like a caged animal, her hands still shaking. He's fine, the medic reported. Scared, but unharmed. Amara collapsed into a chair, her head in her hands. I killed a man in front of him. Oh God, I killed. You protected your family, Ji-hoon said. He'd removed his jacket, rolled up his sleeves. Standing there in his penthouse, he looked less like a mafia boss and more like a man. That's what we do. We. Amara looked up, her eyes burning. I'm not like you. I don't kill people for a living. No, Ji-hoon agreed, pouring her a drink. You kill people for love. That's far more dangerous. He sat across from her, his dark eyes studying her face with an intensity that made her shiver. The serpents targeted your brother because they discovered who you work for, he said. They wanted leverage against me. Which means you and Malik are now in the middle of a war you didn't ask for. Then I'll leave Seoul. Take him somewhere safe. There is nowhere safe, Ji-hoon interrupted. Not anymore. The serpents have connections everywhere. They'll hunt you. They'll find him. He leaned forward. Unless you let me protect you. Why would you protect us? Amara demanded. We're nothing to you. For a long moment, Ji-hoon was silent. Then he reached into his pocket and pulled out a worn photograph. A young Korean boy, maybe 7, standing next to a black woman in a military uniform. The woman's smile was bright enough to light the world. Sergeant Amara Williams, Ji-hoon said softly. Your mother. She saved my life in Kabul 12 years ago. Took a bullet meant for me when I was working private security. I promised her if she ever needed anything, I'd be there. Amara's hands trembled as she took the photo. You knew my mother? She talked about you all the time, Ji-hoon said, and for the first time, his voice carried emotion. Her brilliant daughter studying cybersecurity. Her son with the bright future. She made me promise that if anything happened to her, I'd look after her family. She never mentioned you, Amara whispered. She wouldn't have. We lost touch when I came back to Seoul. But when your name came across my desk 6 months ago, applying for a position at my C, I knew fate was giving me a chance to keep my promise. Amara felt tears streaming down her face. You gave me the job because of her? I gave you the job because you're brilliant, Ji-hoon corrected. I would have given you charity because of her. There's a difference. Malik appeared in the doorway, his eyes red from crying. Nuna? Are we safe? Amara opened her arms, and her brother ran to her. She held him tight, looked over his head at Park Ji-hoon, and made a decision that would change everything. Protect us, she said. And I'll help you destroy the serpents. Ji-hoon's smile was sharp as a blade. Welcome to the war, Amara Williams. 2 weeks later, the penthouse had become home. Malik attended online school under heavy security. Aunt Claudia had been flown to Seoul and occupied the guest wing. And Amara? Amara had discovered she was terrifyingly good at this. During the day, she analyzed the Serpent Syndicate's digital footprint, tracking their money, their communications, their weaknesses. By night, she trained with Ji-hoon's security team, remembering skills she'd tried to forget. And every evening, she and Ji-hoon sat on his balcony, drinking wine, talking about everything and nothing. Your mother, Ji-hoon said one night, used to tell me that the strongest people are the ones who protect others even when they're falling apart inside. Amara smiled sadly. Sounds like her. Sounds like you, Ji-hoon said, his eyes on her face. The air between them shifted. Charged. Dangerous in a completely different way. Mr. Park. Ji-hoon, he interrupted. When we're alone, call me Ji-hoon. Ji-hoon, she tested the name on her tongue and watched his eyes darken. This thing between us, it's complicated. Most beautiful things are, he said, leaning closer. I work for you. Not anymore. You work with me. You're a criminal. And you just killed a man to protect your brother, Ji-hoon said softly. We're both covered in blood, Amara. The difference is I've accepted what I am. And what are you, she whispered. Yours, he said. If you'll have me. The kiss was inevitable. Explosive. Years of loneliness and pain and violence melting away in the heat of it. When they broke apart, both breathless, Amara pressed her forehead to his. This is insane, she murmured. Completely, Ji-hoon agreed, his hands cupping her face like she was something precious. But I haven't felt sane since the moment you walked into my office covered in blood and fury. What happens when the war is over? Then we build something new, Ji-hoon said. Together. But the war wasn't over. And the serpents were about to strike back. Peace, it turned out, was a lie they told themselves. For 2 weeks, the penthouse felt like sanctuary. Malik laughed again. Aunt Claudia cooked soul food that made Ji-hoon's Korean staff weep with joy. And Amara fell in love with a monster who looked at her like she was salvation. But the serpents had been watching, waiting, learning. In a warehouse across the city, Kong Dae-shin, the Serpent King, studied surveillance photos with cold precision. So, he said slowly, the ghost has found his weakness. The photos showed Ji-hoon and Amara on his balcony. Her hand in his lips on her forehead. The tender intimacy of two people who'd forgotten the world was watching. The black woman, his lieutenant asked. Not just any woman, Dae-shin corrected. Former U.S. Marine. Cybersecurity expert. And apparently, the only person in Seoul who can make Park Ji-hoon smile. He tapped the photo with one scarred finger. She's the key to destroying him. The warning. Amara noticed them on a Monday. The SUV parked 3 blocks from Malik's online school pickup point. Same vehicle, different plates, but the same predatory patience. Her blood ran cold. She said nothing to Malik or Aunt Claudia. Instead, she went straight to Ji-hoon's office. He was in a meeting with his underbosses, dangerous men who fell silent when she entered. But Ji-hoon took one look at her face and dismissed them. What's wrong? They found Malik's school route, Amara said, her voice steady despite the terror clawing at her throat. The serpents are watching again. Ji-hoon's expression went from concerned to lethal in a heartbeat. How many? 2-man team. Professional surveillance. They're not trying to hide anymore, Ji-hoon. They want us to know they're coming. He was already on his phone, issuing rapid-fire orders in Korean. Then he turned to her, his jaw set. I'm sending them away. Malik, your aunt, I have a safe house in Jeju Island. They leave tonight. No, Amara said. Ji-hoon blinked. This isn't negotiable. You're right, it's not. Amara stepped closer, her eyes blazing. Because I'm not running anymore. My family doesn't run. We fight. Amara. You want to protect them? She interrupted, her voice sharp as glass. Then let me help you end this. I've tracked the serpent's financial network. I know where they're vulnerable. I can bring them down from the inside while you hit them from outside. You're not a soldier anymore, Ji-hoon said, but his voice had softened. I'll always be a soldier, Amara corrected. My mother taught me that. Protect what you love, even if it costs you everything. She met his eyes. And I love you, Ji-hoon. I love you, and I'm not letting these bastards take anyone else from me. The confession hung in the air between them. Ji-hoon crossed the distance in 2 strides, pulled her against him, and kissed her like the world was ending. Maybe it was. If we do this, he said against her lips, we do it together. No more protecting you from the darkness. You're in it with me. Always was, Amara said. I just finally stopped pretending otherwise. The goodbye. That night, they sent Malik and Aunt Claudia to Jeju with a full security detail. Amara held her brother tight, whispered promises she prayed she could keep. Nuna, Malik said, his voice small. Are you coming back? Always, Amara said, forcing a smile. Aunt Claudia's cooking is too good to miss. After they left, Ji-hoon found Amara standing on the balcony, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. He didn't say anything, just wrapped his arms around her and let her break. I'm scared, she finally whispered. I'm so scared. Me too, Ji-hoon admitted. Every time I look at you, I'm terrified. Because you're the first thing I've cared about in 20 years that I can't protect with violence. Amara turned in his arms, her hands finding his face. Then protect me with love, she said. And let me do the same for you. They made love that night like it might be their last time. Desperate and tender and fierce. Claiming each other in the darkness before the storm. And when dawn came, they went to war. The trap. The attack came 3 days later, but this time, they were ready. Amara had hacked the Serpent's communications network. She knew the plan, simultaneous strikes on Ji-hoon's club, his shipping warehouse, and the penthouse. What the Serpents didn't know was that Ji-hoon had evacuated all 3 locations. The club was empty except for armed security waiting in the shadows. The warehouse was rigged with explosives. And the penthouse. The penthouse was a trap. Ji-hoon and Amara waited in the darkness, weapons ready, hearts pounding in sync. Second thoughts. Ji-hoon whispered. Only that I should have kissed you longer this morning, Amara said. We survived this, Ji-hoon said, and I'm marrying you. That's one hell of a proposal. Say yes anyway. Yes, Amara breathed, just as the first window exploded inward. The fight. The serpents came in like a flood. 15 men, heavily armed, trained killers. But they weren't ready for Amara Williams. She moved like water, like death, like every lesson her Marine Corps instructors had beaten into her. Her first shot dropped the point man. Her second took out the breacher. Ji-hoon fought beside her, their movements synchronized like a deadly dance they'd been practicing their whole lives. Together, they were unstoppable. Until Kang Daishin himself walked through the smoke. Park Ji-hoon, the Serpent King said, his gun trained on Amara. You've caused me considerable trouble. Ji-hoon froze, his weapon useless. One move and Daishin would kill Amara. Let her go, Ji-hoon said, his voice deadly calm. Your fight is with me. My fight, Daishin corrected, is with anyone who threatens my empire. And this woman, he pressed his gun against Amara's temple, has cost me 50 million won in seized accounts. Amara met Ji-hoon's eyes. Saw the calculation there. The desperation. She made her choice. In one fluid motion, she dropped her weight, twisted, and drove her elbow into Daishin's solar plexus. The gun discharged, the bullet grazing her shoulder, but she didn't stop. Her training took over. Strike to the throat. Disarm. Control the weapon. Daishin stumbled back, choking, his gun in Amara's hands. You made a mistake, Amara said, her voice cold as death. You threatened my family. She pulled the trigger. The Serpent King fell. The remaining gunmen, seeing their leader dead, made a choice. They ran. Ji-hoon's security team let them go. Message sent. War won. The aftermath. In the aftermath, as dawn broke over Seoul, Amara collapsed into Ji-hoon's arms. I killed him, she whispered. Oh God, You saved us, Ji-hoon said, holding her tight. You saved everyone I love. I'm not a killer, Amara sobbed. No, Ji-hoon agreed, his lips against her hair. You're a warrior. There's a difference. The wedding. The wedding was small. Just family and the people who'd bled with them. Malik walked Amara down the aisle, his smile bright enough to chase away every shadow. Aunt Claudia cried into her handkerchief. Ji-hoon's mother, who'd flown in from Busan, welcomed Amara like the daughter she'd always wanted. And when Park Ji-hoon saw his bride walking toward him in white, surrounded by flowers and sunlight, he understood what his mother had told him years ago. The right woman doesn't complete you. She challenges you to complete yourself. Amara Williams had done that and more. You look beautiful, he said when she reached him. You look terrified, Amara teased. Terrified I'll wake up, and this will all be a dream, Ji-hoon admitted. Then I'll spend every morning proving it's real, she promised. They sealed their vows with a kiss that tasted like redemption. Later, at the reception, as they danced under string lights with Seoul glittering below them, Amara whispered against his chest. My mother would have loved you. I know, Ji-hoon said. She told me once that I'd find someone who'd make me want to be better. I didn't believe her then. And now? Now, Ji-hoon said, pulling back to look at his wife's face, I believe in miracles. Malik ran past them, chasing Ji-hoon's nephew through the garden. Aunt Claudia laughed with Ji-hoon's mother over shared recipes. And somewhere, Amara knew, her parents were watching. Proud. At peace. Free. Park Ji-hoon learned that the strongest armor is the courage to be vulnerable with someone who's earned your trust. Amara Williams learned that strength isn't about never falling, it's about who you choose to stand back up with. And together, they proved that love doesn't make you weak. It makes you worth fighting for. This is the story of the ghost who learned to live, the warrior who chose love over war, and the family built from blood, bullets, and unbreakable bonds. Remember, true power isn't about commanding respect through fear, it's about earning it through love. Stay legendary.